Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some serious global drama. What happens to the US if an all-out war between Israel and Iran pops off? And plot twist, what if the US jumps into the fight? Plus, you guys know we're a stock market channel. So we're going to be talking about how this can mess the stock market and your investments up. So buckle up, because this is going to be wild. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get to 500 subs, and let's get into it. All right, so let's break it down. Israel and Iran has been throwing shade at each other for years. Think of it like a geopolitical rap beef. But in June 2025, things got real. Israel hit Iran's nuclear sites and military bases, and Iran clapped back with missiles and drones. Now the world's holding its breath, wondering if it turns into a full-blown war. I mean, it's honestly kind of a full-blown war already. They're kind of striking each other back and forth. Pause. But the US, as Israel's biggest ally, is under pressure to back them up. But what's the cost if America goes all in? Spoiler, it's not just about sending troops. There's a whole domino effect that could hit our economy, security, and even your own wallet. If you're hyped about stacking cash and navigating the stock market like a pro, especially with all this global drama popping off, you gotta check out my site, nextgenwealthtips.com. Every day, I'm dropping fire stock picks, handpicked stock plays, and the best moves to make in the market. Plus, I got exclusive courses to level up your investment game, whether you're a rookie or a vet. Head over to nextgenwealthtips.com, link in the description below, and join the squad that's building wealth the smart way. Don't sleep on this. So, what's at stake if the US rolls up its sleeves and join this fight? Here's the breakdown. So, military and human cost. First off, getting involved means boots on the ground, airstrikes, or maybe even cyber attacks. Have we seen Iran be down like their internet and stuff like that already get cyber attacked? So keep that in mind overall. There's some good cyber attack stocks as well. The US has beefed up its military presence in the Middle East with fighter jets already moving in, but Iran's no pushover. They got missiles, drones, and allies like Russia or proxy groups like Hezbollah. A direct fight could mean American casualties, stretched resources, and a long, messy conflict. Think Iraq or Afghanistan vibes, both higher stakes. Plus, if Iran hits US bases, it's game on and could spiral fast. So let's talk more about your money and oil supply overall, because oil stocks can move off this. Think ExxonMobil and stocks like that. But here's where it gets spicy. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for 1/3 of the world's oil shipments. If they block it, or if fighting damages oil fields, prices could skyrocket. Analysts from Goldman Sachs say a worst case scenario could push oil above $100 a barrel. Higher oil prices mean pricier gas at the pump, more expensive goods, and hit to your budget. And it's not about filling your tank. Everything from food to Amazon deliveries gets costlier. So keep all this on your mind and on your radar, because it can bring stocks down overall. So global economic fallout. So an oil spike doesn't just hurt the US, it's a gut punch to the global economy. Higher energy costs could slow growth worldwide, especially in places like Europe and Asia that rely on Middle East oil. If the US is in the war, it's also dealing with Trump's tariffs, which already has the economy on edge. Citigroup warns that this combo could lower global growth and crank up inflation, making it harder for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. That's bad news for businesses, jobs, and your 401k. Geopolitical blowback. So jumping into the war could piss off major players like China, who buys most of Iran's oil, think like 80 to 90%, or Russia, who's got Iran's back, and they are already posted about it. It might also piss off allies who want to stay neutral, like Saudi Arabia. Worse, it could rally anti-US sentiment in the Middle East, fueling more attacks on American interests. The US will be walking on a tightrope, trying to support Israel without turning this into World War III. So let's talk about stocks overall. Let's talk money. How does this mess with the stock market? Because it's a roller coaster. So we're going to have initial sell-off like we've seen previously, but honestly, the market kind of budges off, but we are seeing a sell-off once again, once talks are starting to get more stronger, but it's a roller coaster. So if the US gets involved, expect a sell-off. Investors hate uncertainty, and war screams chaos. On June 13, 2025, when Israel first struck Iran, the S&P 500 dropped 1.1%, and the Dow tanked 770 points. If the US joins, RBC predicts the S&P 500 could crash up to 20%, hitting a range of 4,800 to 5,200. That's your tech stocks, growth stocks, and crypto taking a beating as people dish riskier assets. And if we go back and we look at Bitcoin a little bit, we've seen a big sell off, especially with this news. And honestly, just been going around that range of like that 104, maybe even down to like the lows or the highs of 103. So keep that in mind overall for crypto. You can also trade an ETF called IBIT for this and make a decent amount of money because the options are pretty cheap. And honestly, the delta is pretty strong. So not everybody gets beat. You know, you can look at ExxonMobil, RTX, and even potentially Palantir, because Palantir benefits off the tech rally and it also benefits off of the wartime efforts as well. You'd also see GLD or gold in general. Gold goes up, it's a safe asset, everybody's loading up. So these stocks can be pretty good, but not every stock gets crushed though. Energy stocks like ExxonMobil and defense companies like Lockheed Martin rally hard when oil prices jump or war breaks out. On the flip side, airlines like Delta and United get smoked because of fuel costs soar and travel takes a hit. Consumer stocks like retail and luxury brands could also dip if people tighten their wallets due to inflation. So inflation and Fed drama. Higher oil prices fuel inflation, which was already at 2.4% in May 2025, just above the Fed's 2% target. If inflation hits 4%, as RBC predicts, the Fed might hold off on rate cuts, keeping borrowing costs high. That's bad for stocks, especially growth sectors like tech, would thrive on cheap money. Investors might flock to safe havens like gold or bonds, pulling cash out of stocks and tech stocks mainly. So historic rebound pattern. Here's a silver lining. Markets often bounce back fast from geopolitical shocks. Dutch Bank says the S&P 500 typically drops 6% in 3 weeks after a crisis, but recovers in another 3. Unless the war drags on or oil prices get wrecked, stocks could stabilize if the conflict stays contained. But if the US is in deep, that recovery might take longer. Trump also has the location of the leader. So, I mean, he kind of said that he doesn't want to go that route, but he could. So, which means that the war might be able to end a little bit earlier than we think, faster as well, a couple days maybe, but we never know how it really goes. So keep that in mind overall. We might get a fast rebound and or might get a longer war and stocks falling once again. So what's the vibe for you? If you're invested, keep an eye on energy and defense stocks. They might pop off. But brace for volatility. Don't panic sell your portfolio. If you're just living your life, get ready for higher gas and grocery prices if oil goes crazy. And as a citizen, think about what the US involvement means: more taxes, more debt, maybe even a draft in the worst case scenario, which I don't think would happen, honestly, but honestly, anything can happen. This ain't just headlines, it's real life, guys. But that is a T on what the Israel and Iran war could mean if the US joined, and as an investor, your money. What do you think? Should the US jump in or stay out? Drop the thoughts in the comments, smash the like button, subscribe. Let's get 500 subs, please. But man, I'm gonna update you guys daily on the war overall, and I update you guys daily on the stock market. Check out the site. I'm gonna be coming out with blogs on the site, kind of updating you guys with what stock picks you guys should be looking at, so you guys never miss out on good volatile stocks and stocks that can make you a lot of money. And don't miss out because this market up is up and down, a kangaroo. Back to that vibe. We're either buying a lot and or selling a lot. But keep that in mind overall for the overall stock market. Good luck trading today, guys. And comment down below how you guys feel about this war. And if you guys think the US should join, and if the US does join, what do you think would happen with the stock market and just overall? How long do you think the war would take and stuff like that? Comment down below. Peace out.